Hey, what's up YouTube? Today we are working on a 2000 Subaru Legacy. I'm sorry, this is the Outback, I believe it is. Sorry, not a Subaru guy, so well, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm not a Subaru guy, I just don't really know much about them yet. So yeah, Subaru Legacy here. It's a 2008, it's just the inline 2.5. Today we're going to be doing brakes all the way around on it. Brake pads and rotors. I already replaced the pads on her a few months ago so she could take it on vacation, but unfortunately she needed rotors too, so more than likely, because the rotors were so gouged and rusted, they're going to need to replace the pads again. You shouldn't really ever use old pads on new rotors. You'll pretty much just tear up the new rotors. So that's what we're going to do today. We got the rotors here, front and rear. Flip these over so you can see what we're looking at here. These are the front ones here, part number YH145657. These are basically wherever rotors, and they're from Advanced Auto. And these are the front. We're just putting some cheapo pads on the back, nothing fancy, just because the back usually doesn't do as much stopping anyway. I don't even see a part number. Here's a part number. These are the wherever silvers for the back, which is part number NAD1114. We have the rear brake rotors. This uses the YH145752 wherever brake rotors from Advanced Auto. And let me move my water out of the sunlight here. And we have, these are the front brake pads. We're just doing some semi-metallics. These are the wherever golds, which is the GMK D929. And of course got some brake cleaner, which I probably should put that out of the sunlight too. So we're going to go ahead and move that out. And we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm just going to put you on hold for now. We'll pick back up in a few seconds. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and get the jack out. And we're going to go ahead and jack this guy up, get it supported with some jack stands. Once I get it jacked up and supported with jack stands, then I'll go ahead and pick you back up and show you what's involved in doing these brakes. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll be back here in a couple minutes. Okay, welcome back, YouTube. We got the car jacked up and secured on some jack stands here. I got it jacked up on both the passenger and driver's side. Jack stands is put on the appropriate place on the pinch weld of this vehicle. We're going to go ahead and tear these lug nuts off and get into this and see what we're working with here, guys. So let me step over here for a minute. Got to get a new air quick connect on here. These Harbor Freight ones tend to not last very long on here. So sorry, Harbor Freight, but just speaking the truth. I believe these are 19s. Yes, they're 19 millimeters to take off the lug nuts on here. So we're going to use some impact sockets. Got an impact gun here. Go ahead and put it on loosen and take these off here. Alright, I'm going to disconnect that hose and go ahead and get this rolling here. So I'm going to put the lug nuts in a good place so they don't roll away, and take the tire off. I like to sit the tire under the front of the vehicle just in case it decides to collapse. It's just one extra thing for it to land on. So possibilities of crushing me are less likely. So I'm going to get some more tools here, so bear with me for a minute. Okay, so what I did was I got a magnetic dish here, which these things are fantastic. I use these constantly, and hold the lug nuts in it. Just a little, basic little magnetic dish. They're really good to have. We're going to turn the wheel out for a minute here, which is easy to do because I have both wheels jacked up. And it's going to give us access to the calipers, bolts that hold the calipers on, as well as the caliper bracket. So as we go along here, I'm going to give you some sizes here in reference. Alright, so we got So I'm going to put you on hold because apparently we have some company here. So hold on 1 second, guys. Okay, YouTube, I already made a second video, but I got interrupted, shocking, while I was making it. So this is probably going to be the second video pickup of where I left off. So we got the vehicle supported jack stand. I removed the tire. Now what I'm doing right now is I really haven't gotten any further because I had a company stop over for a minute and ask me some questions about something. So here we are. We basically got the wheel turned out. So far all I've done is there's the caliper bracket, which is this piece right here. It actually mounts to the steering knuckle. These are 17mm bolts. So these are 17mm. We just took them both out. Top one's a little tricky because you have this bolt here that holds the strut assembly to the actual steering knuckle. It was a little difficult to get a socket on it, so what I did was I put a 17mm wrench on it with the closed end and put it on there and lightly tapped it loose with a hammer just to crack it loose, because these things get really tight from heat and wear and all that good stuff. So went ahead and did that, got that one out, and then the bottom one, if you follow down behind the caliper, the bottom one's right there. You can see the hole right in the middle there. So got that one out. So now before I completely disassemble this off here, I'm going to crack these loose here. These are actually the slider bolts here for the caliper and where it mounts to the bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and knock these suckers loose here and get them out of there so I can take the pads, the assembly, and everything off all together. And then we're going to have some hard time. This rotor is pretty much seized to the hub, I can tell already, so it's going to be a little fun. So I'm just going to set you up here and hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing here for the most part. So alright, that gives you the general idea. So you know what I'm doing. There's not much really to see at this point other than me fighting with stuff. So just hang tight with me here. I'll let you know what size these are. These are, oddly enough, Subaru uses some odd sizes stuff here. They're 14mm for reference, 14 for the calipers to take the slider pins loose. So 17s for the ones that mount it to the bracket, to the knuckle, and then 14s for the actual caliper sliding pins. So it's a lot easier when you have a breaker bar to do this. Unfortunately, I don't have very much room in here, so I might be getting we're going to be getting a smaller one here, I think, to do this one. So bear with me, guys. I don't have quite all my tools out yet, so I'm still kind of working on that. I would say my biggest pet peeve, if I'm saying that word correctly, is when people don't put my tools back where I normally keep them. Because I mean, I don't want to say I don't do this for a living. I just do this for side income and to help people out, because I can save them a ton of money when I do it for them versus taking it somewhere. And one of the things that annoys me is when you're messing with something that creates someone income, such as their tools, that just really irritates me. So put my arm down so you can see what I'm doing. All I'm doing is taking these slider bolts out that hold the slider pins in place. That's all I'm doing. I'm going to put them in a magnetic dish for safekeeping. We're going to try to slide this caliper off here, which wasn't too bad. It's always good to prop the caliper up. It's not good to let it dangle from the hose. We'll just stuff it up out of the way. The pads, like I said, they're destroyed because of the fact of having to put them on with bad rotors. She needed pads to get the car to Ocean City, so we just went ahead and did it. So these pads are pretty screwed up, so we're going to go ahead and change them out too and get them replaced for her. The good thing is that when I did the pads last time, I replaced the hardware in them, so shouldn't be an issue with the hardware reusing it. Just in fact, I won't even have to clean the rust up because it was only a month ago I did this, so I'm just going to spray them down real good with some brake cleaner. We'll put these pads in a safe place. I'm going to see if I can get any kind of credit for them. Probably not, but I'll try. So I'm going to take this caliper bracket, I'm just going to clean it up with a little brake cleaner and get it all cleaned up. So that way it'll be a little bit cleaner. And then I will clean that up with a rag. I have to replace my glove here soon. So now the only thing that has me worried is this brake rotor here. It's pretty much on there good, so I have to give it a couple bangs, so don't mind the noise, guys. comes off, which it probably is going to fight me. Of course it will. I had a feeling I was going to run into this. There it goes. Wasn't nearly as bad as I was anticipating. Oh, it moved. There it goes. Might have to give it a couple more tap. There we go. I normally try not to tap on the braking surface because the braking surface, if for whatever reason I end up not getting this thing off here, you're not going to be able to put pads back on just to buy you time until you can get it to a garage to do it. So I always try to hit somewhere in this area and careful not to hit the studs. This is to prevent damage to the actual stopping area in case you have to put the car back together and take it to a garage to get assistance. Because let's face it, I don't have very many fancy tools, but as you can see, hopefully, the inside of this, look at that, this rotor is shot. Keep in mind, this individual, this customer of mine here, she was told that she didn't need front rotors by a Pennzoil oil change place. Yeah, she needs rotors. So, that's done. We're going to give everything a nice little spray here. Clean this all up real good. Get the backing plate cleaned up. It tends to get some dust and stuff on it. Check, make sure everything else looks good. Check the wheel bearing and everything here. We'll check ball joints and all that stuff here in a moment. Just trying to get all this cleaned up so we have a nice mating surface for everything. Alright, let that kind of drip dry. I'm going to go ahead and change gloves out again because these gloves fall right to pieces. So alright, get a rag here. Sorry about that, guys. I know somebody told me and complained one time because I don't edit my videos enough. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this caliper bracket here, and like I said, normally what you want to do is you want to take these things off. A lot of times, the quality brake pads, they'll come with new brackets or hardware. These little metal clips. That's the guides for the brake shoes or brake pads. What I'm going to do though is because I just had them off. The last time I did the pads on here a few months ago just to hold her over until we could get to the rotors, until she had extra income. I don't have to grind out. I had to use a wire wheel to clean up all the rust that's inside of these little, grooves right here. So to push these plates back in. They're in great shape. They're practically brand new. We're just going to clean them with a rag here. One rag is going to be for dirty stuff. The other rag is going to be for cleaning off the new brake rotors because they have a grease on them, preservative grease. I forget the technical name for it, but it helps to keep, it's a rust inhibitor is what it is that they put on the new brakes rotors. So I don't want to use a dirty rag to clean that. Seems like every time I shoot these videos you hear those wind chimes. Aren't they annoying? Yeah, unfortunately it always seems to be windy when I get around to shooting these videos. So, just cleaning this up. Doesn't have to be perfect, guys. I mean, this is, let's face it, this is outside any elements. You just want these, basically, you just want to make sure that these brake pads are going to slide nice and smoothly, because you don't want the brake pads to slide too much on one side, not enough, or get stuck. If they get stuck, you get uneven pad wear, your brakes will smoke because they'll be hanging up, and it's just not a good day. So you always want to make sure your brake pads are working well and sliding in these brackets. This is, and these slider pins here, they seem good and lubricated too, so they seem like they're moving out in the boot. So they actually sell kits. You can redo these boots if they're torn. You can also re-grease these too. They're fine. I'm not touching them. We're going to just hit it one more time with a little bit of brake cleaner. If you have carburetor cleaner, it works just fine. Clean them up, let it drip dry a little bit. Alright, so that's good. Everything looks good here. Everything looks good. The boot on this CB joint looks good. We're going to go ahead and grab the brake rotor now. We're going to clean that up. So, got set brake rotor and brake pads. Go ahead and clean this up without stabbing your leg like I almost just did. So, put the box out of the way. They come in this plastic here. We're going to tear that plastic off here. Lay the plastic on the ground. Set it down, and we're just going to go ahead and give it a good spray here. Flip it over, do the other side, get it nice and sprayed down with brake cleaner, and then take your clean shop towel, just wipe this guy off. All I'm doing is wiping off all the grease that they put on here, the rust inhibitor. Go ahead and wipe that off, get it nice and clean. All I'm doing is wiping this off, just a little house cleaning here. Got it nice and cleaned up, everything looks good here. Now, one of the things I do, which is to help prevent these from getting seized on here, is I have a little bit of anti-seize that you can get. This is just Permatex anti-seize. It's about maybe $8 or $9 at the Advanced Auto or something like that. Comes with like a little paintbrush on it. Sort of looks like rubber cement a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of this and I'm just going to put it around this hub here, right where that rotor sits on this bearing, on this inner lip here. Because what that's going to do is the next time somebody has to do brakes on here, the idea is hopefully it won't get seized on here because of the fact that I use this on here to keep the brake rotor from getting seized. It's why they call it anti-seize. So it doesn't have to be ridiculous, just enough to give it a nice, coating like that. That's probably a little overkill, to be honest with you, but I tend to be an overachiever at things, so I am a preventative measure kind of person, if you want to call it, instead of overachiever. I like to prevent issues before they even occur. So now, go ahead and slap this guy up on there, like that, and I don't know if these lug nuts are long enough to do this, but I'm going to try. I'm going to take the lug nut here, and it probably won't work like I have planned, because they're not long enough. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother, but I was going to try to put it on there so it holds this all steady and still, so, but that's fine, it'll be alright. Alright, so now that I did that, we're going to go ahead and grab a hold of this brake caliper here. So we're going to kind of sit it up here. I'm going to check out everything here. I had a screwdriver here. Ah, there it is. Just clean up some of this rust, just make sure there's no leaks in this caliper anywhere. These have me a little concerned actually, but I think they should be alright. So, go ahead and spray these out real good too. Clean up all the mating surfaces. I use a lot of brake cleaner. Alright, I'm going to let that dangle for a couple minutes until that all dries up. Grab my dirty rag. They kind of look the same these days now. Dry that, just clean up the caliper, get all the junk and gunk out of it. All the brake dust and deposits and everything that are in there. So it's going to be the same drill as before. I'm going to take a little of this anti-seize. I'm going to run it right around the inside. I don't know if it's even picking up, right around the inside of these little rings here. This way, everything slides in nice and happy here. Alright, perfect. Now, I get some new pads here. My anti-seize out of the way. Everything today has just been a challenge for me. Normally, I don't have this many challenges. I think I'm just tired today. I had a little party last night, so not a drinker, but last night I had some alcohol, so now I'm feeling it today. Alright, some new pads. So, before we get too involved in that, what we need to do first, I'm going to use an old brake pad that I had laying in the garage. We have to compress this caliper now, which is basically to enable the pistons to go back in. So, I just use a basic C-clamp for that. Don't really need to do anything too special here, guys. Just compressing a caliper. It can be a little bugger to do sometimes when... There we go. Stay. Alright, so this is the problem. It's trying to get it to stay up on here while you're doing it. It wants to run away from you. Alright. So I'll go ahead and compress this in. Alright, and we're going to go to the other side and do it too, because this is a dual piston. I'm sure there's a more appropriate tool for this, but this is what we have to work with, guys. Oh, come on. Just no room to do anything on these cars. This is really not that big of a deal, trust me. I don't know why I'm struggling so much today. There. Alright. Oh, come on. Stay. See, some days I wonder why I even get out of bed. Stay. There. It's just such a short brake hose is the problem. Just want to compress this so it goes all the way in on both sides. Alright, that should do it. Okay, crack this back out. Put in the new... We're going to let this caliper chill out here for just a second, like so. We're going to put the caliper bracket back on now, but before I do that, I'm just going to take my anti-seize again, and we're going to just lubricate these little sliders here. I don't want too much, just enough to keep everything moving and happy-go-lucky here. Probably take a little bit of that out, actually. Don't need to go crazy with it. Just need to get it so it's nice and happy, we would say. Words of Emerald Legacy, make it happy. So we're going to put these bolts back in, which are the 17mm bolts to back in these brackets that hold the caliper bracket on. Come on. It's going to be one of them days, guys. It really is not a hard job. It's just the stupid rotor keeps bouncing around because I have no way to really secure it. Come on. This isn't working out very well. If I could find a way to get this rotor to stay put, wouldn't it be such a big deal? There, finally. Jeez. Alright, let's get the bottom one in place. And the top one just came out. Wonderful. Oh good, you're still recording. Worried about that. This camera is pretty much done. I've not been having a very good ribbon cable inside the camera that I'm using right now is got a crack in it, and it's not letting me use the touchscreen, and the battery hasn't been all that hot either on it, so needless to say, I need a new camera. This one's not terrible. I mean, I think it does pretty decent with video. I don't know, of course you guys would be able to judge that the best. So, but you know, gotta do what you gotta do. Gotta make do with what you can afford, I guess. So, go ahead and get this all tightened down. So, normally I don't suggest doing what I'm doing, which is basically I'm gonna take the back of a hammer here and just tap that tight, and the only reason why I'm doing that is because I can't get very good leverage on it via, so shut the video off here.